Hi, this is Brian with ActiveMelody.com. Well, this week we have another standalone blues composition. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and these are always super popular. I've been doing them for years. And the reason people love them is because you can play them by yourself. You don't need any accompaniment. You don't need a jam track. We don't always have a jam track with us when we want to play something for our family or friends, but with a composition like this, it allows you to do that. But more important, you're learning these licks that I'll show you how to play in any key so that you can use them when you're improvising or you're at your next blues jam. So I've split this lesson into two parts. In this video, we'll learn the first half. If you'd like to learn the entire composition, watch both videos and access the tablature and the on-screen tab viewer for this lesson. You can get those things by going to ActiveMelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP328. All right, so we have a really cool blues composition that we're about to learn, but the selling point for this, and the reason that this is even cooler than it sounds, is the fact that there are no open strings in this. And I do that intentionally, and you've probably heard me say this in other lessons. Many times I've done this, but I do that so that you can take everything we're about to learn and transpose it and play it in any key. That's the advantage. And those of you that have been taking licks from these compositions like this, using them at an open jam or jamming with your friend, you know the advantage of that. And I hope that that I can clear that up as we go through this lesson, why it's important to learn licks that don't have open strings in them. And we're going to be playing this in the key of G, but if you wanted to transpose all of this and play it in the key of A, for example, you would just slide everything up 2 frets. Or if you wanted to play an F sharp, you would just slide everything down a fret. And I'll explain more about that as we get into it. But that's the advantage. So when you're at an open jam, you're playing with your friends, you're writing music, you can play these licks and start to use them outside of just this composition. So the composition serves 2 purposes. You have a really cool little piece that you can play for other people, but you've also got all these new blues licks that you can play and add to your vocabulary of licks. So let me talk about this guitar real quick. This is an old 1950s, mid-50s Silvertone. Really cool guitar. I've had this one for a while, but I've never used it in a lesson. But the reason I bought the guitar is, well, the main reason, I guess, is the fact that you see the hole there, right by the neck pickup. That hole goes all the way through the guitar. Somebody shot this guitar. Apparently, you know, the guy in the band sucked and set his guitar down, and somebody walks by and just shoots it. I just thought that was such a cool story that I had to have the guitar just for that reason. I like guitars with stories. You know, they've got their own little lives. This guitar is older than me, and it's been played on by who knows how many people. The guitar is not in the greatest of shape. Obviously, it's got a hole in it, but I just thought it was so cool that it had that, and it plays okay. These Silvertones were cheap guitars back in the day, but they're making a comeback. I see them a lot in Nashville. I see people playing them. But that's the story with the guitar. So let's get into this song. Now this is played in the key of G, and as far as tone, I've got a little bit of overdrive if I hit the strings hard. If I hit them soft, you're going to hear that it doesn't break up. So just dial that in on your amp. You don't want it super heavy, just maybe 30% overdrive, whatever that looks like in your world. And I started off with a classic blues. This is like Blues 101, classic blues turnaround. You gotta know this one. It's in so much music, and you can use this now in any key going forward after you learn it. So we're gonna start it here by sliding our ring finger up to the 7th fret 3rd string, and then middle finger goes down on the 6th fret 2nd string. And the way that I played that with the right hand goes down, up, down. So it's down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down when you put them together. So you got, then you're going to slide that down, slide it down again. So we have, and then this is just building the G chord. Think of your G bar chord where you bar in the 3rd fret. You don't need the full bar, so all I'm doing is I'm barring the top 3 strings on the 3rd fret. I'm only playing strings 2 and 3. I go ahead and hammer on my middle finger to the 4th fret 3rd string. Ring finger goes down on the 5th fret 4th string, and you can see these fingers are playing the G chord. That's all I was doing, is building that chord. But by hammering on like that, it sounds more like a piano lick, and it's got a real bluesy sound. In fact, this little lick is in so much blues as well. So you could go, you hear that a lot, and you switch it up to your 4 chord. So you can get a lot of mileage out of that little hammer on there. So backing up from the beginning, and then the 5 chord. So after our ring finger plays the 5th fret 4th string, I come down to the 5th fret 5th string with my middle finger, and then my ring finger goes down on the 5th fret 3rd string, while my index finger goes down on the 4th fret 4th string, and I play strings 5, 4, and 3. Now that is a D7 chord. It's the same chord, actually it's the exact same chord shape as a D7 chord down in first position. You're just going to take that and play it here so that your middle finger is on that 5th fret 5th string. And so you could play the full chord like that with all 4 strings if you want, but I just think it sounds good getting that little triad there. I use that quite a bit, and I hear that in a lot of blues songs. So now that's all around a G chord. Now I want you to take this lick and connect it back to your G chord right here where you're barring on the 3rd fret. You can also think of pattern 2 of your minor pentatonic scale. We're starting in pattern 2 of the minor pentatonic scale, if that makes it easier. However you can connect it back to that G chord, try and do that in your mind so that you can now use that turnaround lick in any key. So if I were to tell you to pause this video and play that same turnaround lick in the key of A, you should be able to do that. Now I'm going to assume you've paused already and tried that, but that's where your bar would be for your A chord. So you can play this whole thing in the key of A just by sliding everything up 2 frets. That's what I mean by no open strings. That's the advantage. If you want to play in any key now, you can do that. Okay, so now that we've got the intro to the song, then it goes into this little shuffle thing. It's a rhythm technique that comes in really handy when you're playing blues rhythm. So what I'm doing for that, it starts with an upstroke. And then after that, actually let me play through it and just watch my right hand. You can see it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It just holds that pattern. There's a few exceptions to that where it starts with an upstroke and then it goes into another upstroke, but we'll get into that. But here's what I'm doing with the left hand. So I'm sliding in to this chord shape. Now this is that same chord shape we just played for the D7. Remember I showed you the D7 chord down in first position? We play it here. It's also a D7. You can also play that same chord shape here. Now in this case, my ring finger and middle finger are on the 7th fret, strings 1 and 3, and my index finger is on the 6th fret, string 2. But when I'm playing, when I play that, that's a G7 chord. So there's your G, there's your G7. And that's just another voicing for playing a G7. So some of you probably know a G7 down in first position like this. You can also play it up here. And this is why the whole caged thing is so important, because you learn your chord shapes all over the neck. But we're going to start with an upstroke with the right hand. And actually I started everything down a fret. So you're going to slide down, so your ring finger, middle finger are now on the 6th fret. And then you slide into that 7th fret. And then we're going to do a muted upstroke. So that's an upstroke, muted upstroke, and then downstroke. Now for that downstroke, I'm barring the first 4 strings on the 7th fret. So backing up, we have, then there's another muted upstroke. And you can see between each of these, there's going to be that muted upstroke. So just watch me play it. Hear that muted upstroke in between? So after that, we're going to build the chord again. We're going to bar the first 4 strings on the 3rd fret, doing a hammer-on to the 4th fret 3rd string with our middle finger. So we have another muted upstroke, back and forth. Now that is a blues shuffle rhythm that you can now play in any key. Now we're playing this obviously in the key of G, but instead of just playing that or just playing some kind of G chord, you've now got this little shuffle thing. Just practice getting the timing down with your right hand. And in the beginning, just start it slow. Just try and get it consistent. In fact, it's even better to play along with a metronome. You can slow that metronome down. 70 beats a minute would be a good starting point. I think that's what the slow walkthrough video for premium members is set at. But it's... Then we repeat. Notice a little hiccup in the pattern there the second time. And what I did for that, I did a down up muted. Instead of it just being an up stroke muted, I did a down up. So I went like this. And you can see it's up, down, up, up, and then we're back into the groove. And I did that just to give it a little bit of a variation. I hear that a lot. Actually, that was more of maybe a Stevie Ray Vaughan type influence. I don't do a lot of his stuff, but I hear those little hiccups sometimes when he's playing a rhythm like that, just to give it some variation. It's the same thing a drummer would do. You'd kind of, it's almost like a little fill lick on drums. Hear the difference? One with the hiccup, the other one without. All right, so let me back up from the beginning and play us up to that point. Now after that, we're going to the 4 chord, and I did a walk down to get us to that 4 chord. Now the 4 chord is a C7 chord in this case, or a C chord, but I went, and this is a great walk down you can always use getting from your 1 chord to the 4 chord. You can remember this going forward. We're going to start here, in this case, in the key of G, it would be the 5th fret, 4th string, and then we walk it down chromatically. 5, 4, 3, 2, all on the 4th string. And then my middle finger goes down on the 3rd fret, 5th string. And what I was thinking about in my head when I came down here, I was thinking about that C7 chord right here. That's the same chord. Remember we played the D7, which was your 5 chord? Same thing, but it's played down here. So I was just picturing that in my mind. Now after that, I went... And that's kind of a Neil Young lick. I got that from, I didn't think about it until after the fact, but I think that came from Needle and the Damage Done. There's a little run that he does when he's playing that acoustically. Something like that. And so that's what this is. And we're going to play this over that C chord. And so I'm picturing the C chord right here, which is using that A chord shape out of Caged. And I've mentioned this in many, many lessons, but if you take that chord shape and replace where your pinky is with your index finger, and then you can bar up here, and in this case it would be the 7th fret 5th string. You're also playing a C chord, it's just got a different bass note. So you've got one here and one here. And what's nice about this one is you've got this little box here that you can work off, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going from... So after that 3rd fret 5th string, I'm going to take my ring finger and slide up to the 7th fret 5th string. So we have... And then I'm going to go ahead and put my bar down here with my index finger on the 5th fret, barring the first 4 strings on the 5th fret. And every time I do an upstroke, I'm going to play strings, try and hit strings 3 and 4 off that 5th fret. So you have... And then 4th string from the 5th fret, upstroke. There's the 7th fret, 4th string. You're keeping that bar down the whole time. Doing that upstroke again. And then slide it up to the 8th fret, 4th string with that upstroke again. So you have... And then back down. And that's a great little takeaway lick off of this chord shape. So anytime you're playing off that chord shape, do that little boogie woogie blues thing. So if you wanted to do it in D, I'll let you pause the video and work that out on your own. Right now you've got all these licks, you can play them anywhere now. Hopefully a light bulb goes off for some of you at this point and you start to realize how powerful it is to learn these licks that don't have any open strings like that. All right, so backing up from here. After that, we have this lick, and that's going from minor pentatonic scale pattern 2, where your middle finger is down on the 7th fret 3rd string, index finger is on the 6th fret 2nd string, and then we slide that up 2 frets. So now we're going up from the 7th fret to the 9th fret on the 3rd string, and then your index finger is on the 8th fret 2nd string. Same notes, or same position rather, it's just up 2 frets. So yeah. And after that, and I'm going right back to pattern 2 of the minor pentatonic scale for G. So I'm coming up here to the 10th fret 1st string, and then back to pattern 2. So that would be the 6th fret 1st string, and then we're just going to walk it down pattern 2. 8th fret 2nd string, 6th fret 2nd string, 7th fret 3rd string. So from the beginning of this lick, and then that's how I close it out with that. So I'll go down to pattern 1 of the minor pentatonic scale for G. And to play that lick, and that's an awesome lick. I love this lick. I use this all the time. You can get so much mileage. But anyway, it's the 5th fret 3rd string. We do a bend there. Play the note without the bend. 3rd fret 3rd string. 5th fret 4th string. And then you go ahead and let that ring finger bar so that you're playing the 5th fret 4th string, then the 5th fret 3rd string. And then you're back to the 3rd fret 3rd string. So it goes. Just practice that lick. I'm telling you, there's a lot of power in that. Because you could take that same lick and play it in pattern 2. Now you can play it in 2 places. You can start to see what you can do just by using that as sort of an anchor, a root, a starting point. Okay, let's back up from the beginning now and play us all the way up to that point. Alright, so then the song goes to the 5 chord, and I played. Now, this sounds complicated or it sounds different, but you're going to see how easy this is. It's just a box between the 7th fret and the 5th fret, all of this. So I'm starting on the 5th fret 3rd string, sliding up to the 7th fret 3rd string. And then I played the 5th fret 2nd string, and then I came up to the 7th fret 1st string, and I played it like this. So that's 7, 5, 7, 5 on the 1st string and on the 2nd string. And then 7 on the 3rd string. And walked it down 7, 6, 5. So there was a 6th fret in there. So that whole lick then over the D chord goes. Now remember that lick off of this chord shape. This is why I said it was going to be easy to remember and easy to visualize. If you're playing that A chord shape, now in this case I'm playing a D chord, you can see I've got one finger on the 5th fret and one finger on the 7th fret. And look at this lick. It's between those same 2 frets. So that should mean to you, if you wanted to play this over a C, play that lick, now you can play that over any chord using just visualizing that chord shape. So you can, your E chord would be up here. It's a really cool way to play kind of a 7th, I guess it would be like a Mixolydian mode lick, but that's what's going on there. All right, so backing up from here. Then we go to the 4 chord, and I play that lick. Now that lick is just minor pentatonic scale pattern 1 for the most part. It starts on the 5th fret, so your pattern 1 would be right there. But I'm starting on the 5th fret 1st string, and I'm bending into that note, which would be the 6th fret 1st string. So you're actually blending that minor and major pentatonic scale stuff for this lick. But from that 5th fret 1st string, you play the note without the bend, and then that would be the 3rd fret 1st string, 6th fret 2nd string. So you have, and then that's the 5th fret 1st string, 3rd fret 1st string, 6th fret 2nd string, down to the 5th fret 2nd string. So you can see we repeat a lot of the same notes. So practice that slowly. And then a quick slide, that's using that blue note out of the blues scale. That would be the 6th fret 3rd string. Quick slide down to the 5th fret. As soon as you hit the note, you slide. 3rd fret 3rd string, 5th fret 4th string. So you have, and then that same turnaround that we used in the intro. I've already covered that. Down to your D7 chord. All right, so I'm going to end this part 1 video right here. I think we've covered a lot of information in this, and hopefully you've got some ideas and some takeaways that you can pull from this composition and start to apply to your own playing. Now I'll see you in part 2 where we'll go over the second half, and I always like to plug this for those of you that are not premium members yet. As a premium member, you get access to that part 2 video, but you also have access to the tablature and the on-screen tab viewer, which is interactive. You can loop through sections, you can slow it down to whatever tempo you want. You have all those extra things, and you have access to the entire back catalog with over 300 and something lessons that are in-depth like this. So lots of learning material. All right, let me go through this part 1 video, part 1 of the composition, the first half of the composition one more time, and then we'll see you in part 2.